Hello, Saints. Welcome in for another midweek video. Going to have to ask you to forgive me for my voice. I'm a little hoarse. And actually, it's been a long time since I've been a little anything. A verse came to my mind today, and part of a verse, but I'm gonna lead up to that. In Genesis 2, God has created everything, the animals, vegetation, all the things that he's told Adam to govern. And then he makes this statement. He said, "It's not good for man to be alone." He says, "And I'm going to make a helper fit for him." And I want to submit to us today that while that absolutely 100% applies to the marriage covenant, to the marriage relationship, and in this instance, he created Eve, the fact still remains that it's not good for man to be alone. It's not good for us to be alone. We were created to need one another. Now, some people need other people less than others. Some people need a lot of people. Excuse me. But every human being has a need for other human beings. There's an innate desire to find that in people. And that's why we find things like people joining clubs, nothing wrong with clubs. We find people sometimes hanging out at places like bars and pubs unnecessarily long because they have found a place where they're not alone. They found a place where they belong. That's why people gravitate to sports teams, my sports team. And so a person becomes part of a club of people who support a sports team. And in some cases that gets into an inordinately unhealthy way when the sports team's results becomes everything for one's life, because we can't be alone and we got all these people that are with us in this endeavor. And God created us to be with people. Obviously, he said it's not good for man to be alone. It's interesting that the word that God used there when he said, "I'm going to make a helper." Of course, the old King James said "help me," and that didn't make any sense. But helper does make sense. The word there is a Hebrew word that means one who supplies strength in the area that is lacking in the one being helped. In other words, the helper provides what the one being helped lacks. In this case, there was something lacking in Adam that Eve ultimately fulfilled. I must hasten to point out that the helper is not stronger or weaker. The helper is not less valuable or more valuable. It just means the helper is fit. He said, I'm making a helper fit for him, or matching him. And he did that. Now, when you translate that to you and I, of course, that should translate, and it better translate into our marriage relationships. But when you translate it into our everyday lives, it's still not good for us to be alone. And that's why this verse came to my mind today. I'm going to read a couple of verses before it. Psalm 68 says, "The righteous shall be glad, they shall exult before God. They shall be jubilant with joy. Sing to God, sing praises to his name. Lift a song to him who rides through the deserts. His name is the Lord. Exult before him, Father of the fatherless and protector of widows is God in his holy habitation." And then this line that stuck with me: God settles the solitary in families. God settles the solitary in families. We are to sing praises and exaltation to God because he shows himself kind. And you could carry that a little further. He shows himself kind to those that are unfortunate, the fatherless, the widows. But he settles his people in families, or in some versions say in home. This is not a recording to browbeat people to get up and go to church. I believe we should attend church, but that's not what this is about. This is about being part of something. This is about recognizing that other brothers and sisters, and some of them you don't attend church with, but they supply what you lack. And it's encouraging us to not isolate. Isolation is probably the most fruitful tool the devil has. He's probably more successful in his attacks when he finds people who have isolated themselves from other people. When you're born again, born from above by the Spirit of God, you immediately become a part of the family of God. You're born into the family. You're a member. Remember, in 1 Corinthians 12 teaches us that God sets the members in the body as it pleases him. We don't necessarily get to choose. I've seen this on the back of trucks. Choose to attend the church of your choice. Well, I understand what they mean, but we don't attend the church of our choice. We attend and belong to the church of his choice. He places us where he wants us. But the issue is that he places us not with an organization and not just with an institution. Yes, we gather in buildings and homes and such, and we have legal papers, and we have tax deductible 501c3s and all of that. But we're not joined to all of that. We're joined to people. We're joined to families. And whomever you belong to, whomever you are with, whether it's a traditional church that meets on Sunday morning and Wednesday night, or whether you're part of a house church, whether you're part of a small group that meets any other night at any other place. The issue is not where and when you meet. The issue is that you're joined to people, that God sets the solitary in families. And when he does that, that's when you find home. When people come here to Abundant Life Church and they say something like, well, we're just looking, we're just searching around and visiting different churches. I don't try to reel them in and give them the sales pitch. What I tell them is, what I want for you is that you would find home. And then I tell them something like this: selfishly, I would like for this to be your home. But I understand God sets the members, not me. So I want you to find home. When we find home, whatever configuration that looks like, when we find home, we find those people. You've heard people say, that group over there, they're my peeps, or they're my people. Well, when you find home, you realize you found your people, because God has set you in family. He set you in a place called home. Excuse me. And he's providing from those people, he's providing what you lack. And he's providing what they lack through you. And so during this season, we just completed the Christmas season, probably one of the highest, most joyful times of the year, and probably one of the most depressing times of the year for certain people. I want you to know that you belong. You belong to God. You belong to God's people. And he has set you in family. If you haven't found your family, I pray that you do. You have yourself a good week. Have a happy new year, and go out there and act like somebody. Good day.